All right. Okay, I call to order the regular council meeting of Wednesday, March 11th. I'd like to start off this meeting in a good way by acknowledging that we're gathered on the Treaty 8 First Nations territory in the long-standing presence of the elders and the ancestors of Treaty 8. And through this acknowledgement, we extend recognition and respect to the BC Treaty 8 First Nations and all those who call this country home. I'd like to move that council adopt the March 11th regular council meeting agenda. Can I get a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Wall. Discussion?
As I was not here for that meeting, I unfortunately think it would be best if we tabled it.
This is the adoption of the agenda.
Oh!
Hold up. Just wait. Pause.
Yes. Yeah, I'll second it.
So he's seconding adopting the agenda. Any discussion regarding the agenda? Yes?
Your Worship, I apologize if I'm throwing things off. I think just after item 15, probably an in-camera portion might be worthwhile.
Okay.
That's just in addition to the agenda, I suggest. Yeah.
Make a motion to the agenda to vary the agenda to include an in-camera portion under section K, negotiations.
C.
C? Is it C?
No, it's C, employment relations.
I second.
Seconded, thank you. After item number 15 closed, so I just gotta make a note there. Okay, perfect. Anything else?
Sorry, Your Worship, just for information, there were a couple of items that were added since the initial posting of the agenda, which I've emailed the council about. There's two attachments under item 8.1, which you folks need to know about. And there's item 5.1, which is a letter from the Dawson Creek and District Band Association. So just letting you guys know.
Wonderful, thank you so much. All right, I'm gonna call the question, and all those in favor? Wonderful, thank you. Okay, recommendation number 4, adoption of minutes. The council adopts the February 11th, 2026 regular council meeting minutes as presented. Can I get a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Wall. Councillor Wall.
I was not present at the February 11th, 2026 council meeting. Therefore, to make sure that the minutes do pass, I believe it would be a best approach for us to table until we have the members that were present.
Councillor Ravel.
I was not present for the February 11th meeting, therefore, as per my previous notions, I will vote in opposition if it was to come to the floor, but I think that because the votes would fail right now, I think we should table it, so I second the member opposite's tabling.
Thank you.
I know that's not the appropriate way to do this, but sorry.
No worries. I was super confused there for a minute, but we're on it. Okay, any other discussion regarding tabling? And call the question then. All those in favor? That's unanimous and carried. Thank you very much, gentlemen. We'll make sure to add that to the next one. Item 4.2, recommend that council adopt the February 20th, 2026 special council meeting minutes as presented. Can I get a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Woodall. Discussion regarding the minutes? I'm going to call the question then. All those in favor? It's unanimous and carried. Item 4.3, then recommend that council adopt the February 25th, 2026 regular council meeting minutes as presented. Can I get a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Wall. Awesome job in chairing the meeting, Councillor Wall. You killed it. Good job.
Thank you, Mayor Beach. I would like to add that I did discuss the approval of a crosswalk at 52nd Avenue and Highway 2 as part of my report, if we could add that in there.
Oh, yeah, for in addition to those minutes. Okay. All right. Any other changes noted? I did actually have one. Oh, no, was it on the last one? Oh, no, yeah, it's on this one. Just so you're aware, you still have me as the person at the end who's supposed to sign them as the chairperson. We're going to have to change that to Councillor Wall.
Oh, I've never even looked at that because it's never me.
Yeah, so you are going to have to make sure it says Councillor Wall instead of me.
You bet. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any other discussion? I'm going to call the question then. All those in favor? And that is unanimous and carried. Wonderful. Moving on to item number 5, introduction of late items. I'd like to recommend that council accept the late correspondence from the Dawson Creek District Community Band Society. That's under item 10 now. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure this out.
Your worship, you could consider this right here if you'd like.
That's
or
what
you-
I was thinking, yeah.
Yeah.
That the motion is that we consider it under discussion. Can I get a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Wall, thank you. Councillor Wall?
It appears as though we've provided them funding before. I'm not sure when we have. So my question through you, Chair, to the staff is, do we know when that would occur?
Yes.
Your worship, the note that I had in last year's, I did look this up a little bit before the meeting. Looks like there was an amount of 300 that ran through council sponsorship line in the financial software last year. I don't have too much beyond that for history.
Yeah, I know one of the reasons why it's been a bit spotty, and this is sort of something I wanted to connect with you on, Mr. Malcolmson. So I absolutely understand where the Dawson Creek and District Community Band Association is coming from. It's definitely difficult when you're working off fundraising, and fundraising does have a bit of a low turnout, especially when you're fundraising during the winter months. But I also know that in spending taxpayers' money with the community, they really like to focus on things that happen within the community. So I guess my question to you is, does the Dawson Creek Band do anything in Pouce-Coupe? Like, are they a part of our Canada Day event or our parade or anything?
I think usually they're pretty close to the front of the parade. Like I understood, it's been shared with me from staff that they do regularly attend and do regularly turn out and do some stuff. Conversely, or perform through the parade route. Conversely, in the budgeting software, again, I'm not sure if this is just the way the software is set versus prior directions that council has given on the budget, but I'm not sure that I see an actual dedicated line or a dedicated budget figure that you folks are focused to. It would technically be council discretionary, which has a $0 figure on it.
Did we cut the discretionary fund?
This is from last year. I'm looking at a $0 figure in the budget line.
Yeah. So we didn't spend anything out of our discretionary last year.
Okay.
Or did we not budget anything? We normally have, I think it's 2,500
Perfect.
in discretionary funding generally.
That's perfect.
And we normally use it for these kinds of things, yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Councillor Wall?
Mayor Beach, if I recall correctly, I don't believe last year we used the discretionary fund.
No, we didn't end up really using it because we were able to, the things that we did donate and provide to, we actually used it out of different pots. Like we had money left over at Canada Day. We used that to support the Legion for our wreath. So there was different, so like normally we would have to pull from that. Last year we actually didn't, if I remember correctly. So if council would like to make a donation to the Dawson Creek and District Community Band Association, then I would definitely, then you could make the motion to pull, you're asking for $300 to $500 from the discretionary fund, if council wishes. Yes.
I'll make the motion that we provide the Dawson Creek District Community Band Society with $500 from the discretionary fund.
You only have $2,500 in there, could do free. It's only a $2,500 fund. We do normally use it. Could we do $350?
I'd be good with 3 in all honesty.
Yeah.
I can second that for discussion, sorry.
Sure. Yeah, okay, we'll discuss it.
Yeah, I'll second it so we can actually discuss
Okay.
it. But I'm good with, I personally like the idea of doing 3. There's 3 members from, 3 people from Pouce-Coupe, so $100
Per person,
per
kind of
person
thing.
for Pouce-Coupe residents to support the band.
Nice.
What's the urgency to this? Could we maybe, push this for a quick report, see what budget line to pull from, see where it fits in the budget, see what amounts we've allocated in the past, and maybe not make it, we could make a decision right now, and I'd be fine with $300, but then maybe we could push this to the next meeting and, really figure this out here, because it has come in quite late, right?
Yeah, well, I think like the concern that they've noted there is that like their funding and fundraising has not been successful this year, and they're like they've reached a point of desperation where they're like literally running out of money, is my understanding of why this is coming in kind of late and then being pushed forward. Yes, Councilor Wall.
My concern with bringing it back is and having a report done on it may cost more than $300 to $500 worth of staff time
Yeah.
to do that. So in my opinion, this is an amount of money that would not be trivial for them, but may, for us to continue to look into it.
Further. No, I think that you're spot on there as well. Okay, so the motion was for the 300 to be donated from the council.
And then I seconded it for discussion.
Oh.
No discussion.
May I amend my motion to make it 4? 400.
Only once. Is anybody willing to amend the second? Or second the amendment?
Fine, I'll do 350.
You would make a great auctioneer. Anybody willing to second the amendment for 300?
You got a second.
300.
There we go.
Seconded by Councilor. Thank you. Awesome. Okay. Any other discussion regarding?
I tried.
You
You're
absolutely.
a good man.
And they're
Well,
wonderful.
the nice thing is too, like with this is, like you said, we have 2,500, we wanna be able to stretch it as far and help
Yeah. Yeah.
as many local community groups as we can.
And I think we're gonna get a lot more of these, because I know a lot of people are really struggling to get the same amount of donations that they have in the past. And so I have a feeling it's gonna be a lot of these throughout this next year. So that's why I'm trying to do exactly as Councilor Whittle said and really stretch that funding. Mr. Malkinson,
Yes.
are they aware of grants through like the PRD and stuff too? Like I just
That for sure.
yeah, really just mention the Peace River Regional District has a large grant pot.
They also have a grant writing service.
And they have a grant writing service, yeah, which may be beneficial. So along with our donation, if we could offer any advice towards grants, I think that would also be super beneficial as well.
And then I guess the other thing too is if they're, just thinking about that, I guess, but if they're interested in further donations, maybe getting it to us a little bit faster.
Yeah, so it's not such a rush. Okay, I'm gonna call the question then. All those in favor? And that is unanimous and carried. Thank you very much, gentlemen. No public hearing, no agendas. So item number 8, unfinished business and business arising from the minutes. 8.1. I'm just reading that forward. Does somebody want to read that if they're more ahead of this than I am?
The council directs staff to submit the following resolutions for consideration at the 2026 NCLGA convention.
So we're gonna just kind of leave it there and then get it seconded because there's nothing listed. So can I get a seconder for, thank you, Councilor Rabble. So there should be,
Number 1, I'll make the recommendation that council endorse UBCM bylaw amendment extraordinary resolution ER1.
okay, can I get a seconder on that? Seconded by Councilor Johnston. I know Mr. Malkinson he did some digging over the past couple days. The floor is yours, Mr. Malkinson.
Sure. The council will remember that after the UBCM convention in October, there was a letter sent to UBCM with outlining some of the Village of Coos concerns about the extraordinary resolution that was submitted to UBCM that basically provided some criteria to exclude resolutions that are submitted to the UBCM convention, particularly for resolutions that consist of existing UBCM policy that are outside the scope of BC local governments, that are within the scope but don't meet UBCM criteria for format or clarity, or if they're regional in focus. So that was adopted at the AGM last year. UBCM sent you folks a letter back saying that they'll use those powers with full consideration of small local governments or local governments like Coos. And at the last meeting, this topic was flagged again by council as something that might warrant some advocacy this fall at UBCM. I reached out this afternoon to UBCM to talk about a few different submission-related issues. Remains to be seen from the resolution staff person that I spoke to on whether or not UBCM would accept this resolution as it's presented. The thing that was cited there is that only the UBCM executive, from their perspective, can actually bring amendments to UBCM's bylaws. I didn't see rules that exactly supported that, but it is clearly outlined in the resolutions manual from 2025 that, generally it's the executive that's doing that. I didn't find bylaw language that resolution spoke of a citing, but again, it's up to, ultimately is likely up to the executive. Conversely, I learned this afternoon that the North Coast Regional District has brought forward a resolution through I can't remember, I think through the AVICC, the Association of Municipalities, and I learned from them that they're going to be requesting rescind of the extraordinary resolution from 2025. So basically, it's almost a mirror image what's proposed in this report and the NCRD. So you guys could have the option of just co-sponsoring what the NCRD is doing, or you could move this. I figure that UBCM, based on my conversation with them today, would likely see them as substantially similar, and would probably just list one of you as co-sponsors on the other's resolution, if they did accept it, that is.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yes, Councilor Wall?
I would like to make a motion that we just co-sponsor theirs.
Okay, so, because the motion's already on the floor to go forward with it, we need to defeat that motion and then he can re-motion and co-sponsor, is that correct?
Sure, Your Worship, no problem.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
I can pull up the motion itself from the NCRD and read it out for you if you'd like.
yeah,
Please.
One moment. Topic, rescinding 2025 UBCM ER extraordinary resolution of the resolutions process. The resolution text was, whereas at the 2025 UBCM convention, the resolution endorsed extraordinary resolution ER1, which introduced significant changes to the resolution submission process. And whereas the changes implemented through ER1 represent a fundamental shift in the resolution's framework that may impede the ability of local governments to collectively advance advocacy priorities and respond to evolving concerns. Therefore, be it resolved that the AVICC and the Union of British Columbia Municipalities consider rescinding extraordinary resolution ER1 and restoring the prior resolution submission process.
That's exactly what we're going for, I think. Okay.
Yep, nope, I think so as well. So why don't we vote down the current motion that's on, and then you can remake the motion to co-sponsor.
Sure.
Yeah, okay. So all those in favor of the motion to bring forward the extraordinary resolution to UBCM from the Village of Poughkeepsie, all those in favor? In favor, okay. All those opposed? All right, and that fails. Okay, Councilor Wall.
I would like to make a motion that the Village of Poughkeepsie co-sponsor, in conjunction with the North Coast Regional District, the rescinding of extraordinary resolution number 1 at UBCM.
Seconded by Councilor Rabble. Okay, any discussion?
For clarity, Your Worship, you guys are hoping for us to put this in the minutes, I gather?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All those in favor? And that is unanimously carried, thank you. Okay, wonderful. Moving on, there was a couple of additions to 8.1. Two notice of motions, one coming forward from me and one coming forward from Councilor Wall. Those should be attached to your packages at this point now as well. So we're going to start off with the first notice of motion, the transparency in Indigenous negotiations. I'd like to put the motion on the floor that Council support the resolution transparency in Indigenous negotiations going forward to NCLGA and also getting forward to UBCM. Seconded by Councilor Wall, thank you. Discussion, Councilor Wall.
I noticed in the therefore clause, it says that the North Central Local Government Association and the Union of British Columbia Municipalities call upon the Government of Canada and the Province of British Columbia to establish transparency framework for Indigenous titles. So can the NCLGA and UBCM lobby the Government of Canada as well?
I think they can work in concert with, or request the UBCM work with the province to lobby the Government of Canada. If you guys want to strike it for clarity.
I just don't want it to get shot down because they...
Yeah, it's probably safer to eliminate it if I'm you guys.
Okay.
It is safer to eliminate that? Because I really think this is very well worded. I think it's necessary.
So then it would then say, therefore, be it resolved that the Union of British Columbia Municipalities, we would take out the whole NCLGA part.
No. Then call upon the Province of British Columbia to establish a framework.
So therefore be it resolved that the North Central Local Government Association and the Union of British Columbia Municipalities call upon the province of British Columbia to establish a transparency.
Ah,
So
I
strike
think this would
government
be
of
a
Canada.
great resolution to
Yeah.
also send to FCM. And then say Government of Canada.
so we're looking to strike Government of Canada from this one and then have a different one for FCM?
Yeah, just strike British Columbia from the one we send to FCM and keep Canada.
Okay, Councillor Rattle.
That is my question. Can we then repeat this process through FCM, or should we follow this current process?
Thoughts, feelings, and opinions, Mr. Malkinson?
Googling the FCM resolution deadline right now.
We could also keep that in our pin, in our hat for when it comes to FCM as well,
Mhm.
so that you're not slamming quickly through their resolution criteria.
Yeah, not immediately clear. Theoretically, it was January 12th this year.
Okay, well, I am happy to amend, the Government of Canada bit, pop that out. I don't think it changes the overall framework of the resolution that's being presented, and you're right, I don't want it to mucky up any waters, so I think I'm totally fine with
I would
that.
just hate it to get there and then we go, we can't accept this resolution because it's the wrong level of government.
Yeah, no, exactly,
Oh,
and they are so sticky about that now, yeah.
Would we need to strike Government of Canada from the whereas as well as the therefore clause, or leave both?
No, because that's whereas the province of British Columbia and the Government of Canada are engaged. They are.
Yeah, that's true, so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I
okay, I'm cool with just striking Government of Canada just from the therefore and
Yeah.
leaving it in the whereas.
yeah, same. Okay, all right,
I have one more question.
yeah,
Through you, Chair, to staff, do you see it as a possibility that that concern would lead to the resolution not making it to the floor?
See, it is highly unlikely. The whereas typically, it's just offering context, it's not
Yeah.
actually legal.
Oh, I mean in the therefore clause. Do you think that would prevent it from possibly prevent it from getting to the floor?
Are you asking about the amendment to strike Government of Canada from the therefore clause?
Yeah, because if we left it in, this is a stronger resolution than if we took it out, and I would prefer to keep it in. I just don't want the possibility of it not making.
I think it's safer to remove. I agree with the suggestion, yeah, okay.
all right, any other questions or concerns? All right, then all those in favor of bringing forward the transparency in Indigenous negotiations resolution, with the removal of the Government of Canada piece from the therefore be it resolved clause, to the NCLGA and UBCM. All those in favor? That's unanimous and carried. Did I say that right? That was really jumpy, I'm so sorry.
We knew what you meant, and yes, you got it right, your worship.
Killed it, yes.
And I apologize, Chair, should have brought this in discussion, but can we send that to all municipalities in British Columbia?
Yeah.
For support, co-sponsorship, or support?
Would you like to make that recommendation?
I so move that we send this resolution for transparency in Indigenous relationships to all municipalities in British Columbia and invite sponsorships or letters of support.
Would you like to also send it to the MLA?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, perfect. Can I get a seconder on that? Seconded by Councillor Johnston. Ooh, he's feeling it. Okay, oh my gosh. Okay. Any other discussion regarding sending that out? All those in favor? That is unanimous and carried. Okay, Councillor Wall, would you like to read yours?
My motion is that the Village of Pooskoopi approve this resolution and submit it for consideration at the NCLGA and UBCM, and further that copies of this submission be emailed requesting support and or co-sponsorship, I've added that, from the Peace River Regional District, all municipalities within its boundary, and all municipalities in the province, and that a copy also be sent to MLA Neufeld for discussion. I'm going to read the resolution, if that's all right.
Yes?
Okay, the resolution title is Protection of Fee Simple Property Rights. The resolution reads, whereas fee simple title has long been the primary form of land ownership in British Columbia and provides landowners with certainty, stability, and the ability to securely own, use, and transfer property. And whereas recent public policy considerations have raised questions and concerns about the future of fee simple title and the security of private property rights in the province, therefore it be resolved that the North Central Local Government Association and the Union of British Columbia Municipalities demand that the Government of British Columbia affirm and uphold the security of fee simple title and the private property rights of landowners in British Columbia.
Can I get a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Whittle. Discussion? Councillor Rabble?
I wish to take a moment to give more of a statement collecting my thoughts if I'm given the privilege, Chair. So thank you to those who came before us, those who struggled, sacrificed, and bled to secure the rights that we may take for granted today. Among these is the security of private property, the ability for people to own land, build homes, and create stability for their families. The protection of property is the cornerstone of a democratic society. In 1215, the Magna Carta limited the power of the Crown to affirmed that rulers could not arbitrarily seize land. In 1689, the English Bill of Rights further entrenched private property and democratic participation through land ownership. John Locke argued that the very purpose of government is to protect the natural rights of its citizens, including property, with the consent of the governed. Later, James Madison warned that when excessive power prevails, property is no longer secure, and neither are opinions. These principles shape modern human rights law. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights affirms that everyone has the right to own property and that no one shall be arbitrarily deprived of it. In Canada, the Canadian Bill of Rights recognizes the right to life, liberty, security of person, and the enjoyment of property. These protections were not created lightly. They were earned through centuries of struggle against arbitrary power, and it is our responsibility to ensure that they remain strong. Uncertainty in property rights creates real consequences. It creates and causes anxiety for property owners, discourages investment, and threatens the prosperity that stable law makes possible. To deprive someone of property is ultimately to deprive them of security, independence, and dignity. That is why transparency in land negotiations, strong protections for private property, and meaningful consultation for everyone affected are not optional, they are essential. The torch of liberty was passed to us through centuries of struggle. Our responsibility is to not extinguish it, but to carry it forward so that we may pass it on intact to those that follow. Thank you. I therefore am in favor of this resolution.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Okay, I'm going to call the question then. All those in favor? And that is unanimous and carried. Wonderful, thank you. Okay, moving on to item 9.1, new business.
Your Worship, my apologies. There is one more kind of recommendation in the report, and that's seeking just clarity from council that you don't want me to submit the Library Act appointment resolution
Oh, yes.
that you previously moved.
Yes.
It was worded so well.
It was worded beautifully. Yeah.
Oh, you
It's just already been done.
Yeah.
Yeah, did I write it?
Yeah, you did.
I thought you wrote it.
Oh, well, I didn't, and you didn't. Who did? Jimmy wrote it.
So basically what's included in the report here is a resolution that I found in the UBCM resolution database that was endorsed last year by the
Yeah, so
membership.
it's a repeat.
So yeah, UBCM would argue that it is their existing policy that they want to amend the Library Act to help find adult residents or electors to serve in the library board of small municipalities.
Okay, so there was a motion put forward to go forward with that one already, so it needs to be rescinded, is that what's happened?
That's even neater than what I suggested, but yeah.
Okay,
Sounds great.
perfect. I'd like to put a motion on the floor to rescind the Library Acts Amendment Resolution going forward to NCLGA by the Village of Blue Scoopy. Can I get a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Whittle. Discussion? Yes?
I hope that the 2025 Taylor resolution leads to us having the ability for that the province amends the Library Act so that we have the ability to get more folks on our board, because we don't seem to be able to get enough folks within the boundaries of the municipality. I'm still hoping that that moves forward through this work that's done here, and I understand that it would just be kind of by default rejected, especially considering ER1. So then my understanding would be we co-sponsor ER1, we send in the transparency one, we send in the fee simple property one, those are the three that we're moving forward with, okay?
Yeah, and then I guess what you could do actually is you, upon rescinding, if that is the will of council, we could actually take this resolution that was endorsed as amended at UBCM and write a letter to them asking what progress they've made on this.
I like that.
Perfect. That's what I was thinking. That was going to be my next one. Okay, yes, Councillor Wong?
You're absolutely right, Mayor. There's no point, in my opinion, of what's the point of the advocacy boards if that
It never-
advocacy doesn't take place?
It never happens, or nothing ever comes from it. That's what I'm starting to feel like is happening.
Sometimes it scares it makes the government of the day shake a little bit, but
I don't know why, nothing ever seems to change. You know, but yeah, so, okay, so all those in favor of rescinding? Okay. All right, I'd like to put a motion on the floor that staff write a letter with this resolution in it, asking about any progress or changes that have been made to the review of the BC Library Act, and send it off to UBCM. Seconded by Councillor Whittle. Thank you. Discussion? Yeah, Councillor Rattle?
What would be the timeline for such a thing?
Well,
Because it's already an existing piece. And
yeah, well, so they should have done something on it. It's been a full year, so that will be interesting. Well, basically, we'll send the letter up as soon as we can, and hopefully get a response in the coming months.
But for additional context, my memory is that generally on these repeat things, motion on the same topic can't be done within a 5-year period.
Yeah.
So it's official UBCM policy for 5 years, and then it just falls off.
But it just goes.
Sorry, I shouldn't say that. That's
No,
maybe just
but it totally made me. What is that movie with all the emotions where the orbs go down into like the nowhere zone?
Sometimes UBCM is like Groundhog Day. It's the same one every
Upside down.
Inside Out.
Inside out. Whatever. Still same difference. Thank goodness for Councillor Johnson and his little ones. Oh. Are you watching these and nobody's around?
They are good works of art.
They are great. That's what happens after 5 years. The orb just drops into the nowhere zone.
There we go.
There we go.
I'll put that in the letter.
I love it. You know what? I was going to say, include a photo.
Yeah.
It's just what happens after the
But make
5
sure
years.
you reference the movie.
Yeah, totally. Cited, yeah. But yeah, I would be interested to find out what work is being done on this, because I am beginning to get to the point as a municipality where every year we endorse and we support and we push forward all these great resolutions, and then you hear crickets. And then another year comes and we do all the same things again, and then you hear crickets. So.
Should we include our legislative representative as this is requiring an amendment of provincial legislation?
Sure. If you think it will help, totally, why not?
Sure. Yeah.
Sure.
I appreciate the reminder, genuinely. I think on a lot of these things that are provincial in focus, it's, I think, courteous to include in my life, but yeah, I do appreciate
I
that.
second that.
Yeah. Yep, no, I'm totally fine with that as well. Okay, any other questions? All right, all those in favor of the letter being sent to UBCM regarding the amendments to the BC Library Act, as well as sending a copy to our local email. Unanimous and carried. Thank you. I'm dying to hear what extreme progress they've had.
This provincial government seems to move at a pace never seen before, and by that I mean they don't do anything.
Unless it's behind closed doors.
Unless it's behind closed doors, then they do quite a bit.
Okay, we've all had our moments, so boxes, everybody step down. All right, moving on.
We all agree it.
We totally do, that's so funny. I'd like to recommend that council receive the development variance permit application for the property located on 4919 48th Ave, and further that council direct staff to proceed with the required public notification pursuant to S498 of the Local Government Act. Seconded by Councillor Rabble. Discussion? Councillor Rabble?
So this church has been there obviously for a very long time, and so the long and the short is we're just enshrining that it's through this DVP and then the coming MOU that the church is fine where it is, but then also that they want to add on an extension to the building that would keep in the same line of encroachment so that they can have an accessible bathroom and so on and so forth and whatever other spaces they need. So it's just keeping with the same line of encroachment along with the new structure. So that's really at the end of the day.
Yeah,
right?
it's not going any closer to the ditch. It's following the same line of the building, yeah. Yes, Councillor.
Is this to do with the classroom that they were talking about as well?
Yeah, well, so there's, all the learning spaces are in the basement. I don't think you can legally call it classrooms. I don't think it's a designated school.
My apologies.
So my understanding is that there's no accessible bathroom on the church floor. And so that's what the main issue is that anybody who needs to use the bathroom needs to go down the stairs to the basement. And so as some of their petitioners are getting older, they are having accessible issues.
I thought this had to do with their learning space initially, and I thought, why, if they need more space, why are they only asking for such little area?
That's why. It's just one little thing.
Maybe we give them more, is what I was thinking.
So giving. Yeah. First it was 500, now he's giving away free space. It's just, I'm telling you.
Still adding over.
You're like Oprah.
I'm always excited to see, nonprofits expand and develop, but the question needs to be asked, will this interfere with, fire protection activities, any access to utilities, underground utilities that may be located there, anything that could impede future infrastructure development and so on and so forth, or is it just in an area that's not really going to cause a concern because the church is already there, and then we're just continuing along that line? I just need to ask that question, right? Will this impact future servicing, current infrastructure, or anything to do with fire and fire protection and prevention?
Mr. Malkinson?
Through your worship, the building permit review process and the permit review process that the building inspector does includes reviews with the fire chief, and that includes reviewing servicing, includes talking to the fire chief, trying to think out some of these long-term servicing questions. Nothing was flagged internally when we were doing the review preliminarily.
Okay, wonderful. I'm going to call the question then. All those in favor? Unanimous and carried. Can somebody read 9.23?
That council authorized the mayor and chief administrative officer to execute a memorandum of understanding between the village of Pooskoopi and the Southeast Bible Missionary Church respecting the existing encroachments onto the municipal sidewalk adjacent to 4919 48th.
Seconded by Councillor Woodall. Thank you. Discussion? Councillor Ravel?
Is there a necessity to the dollar being charged to initiate this MOU? I'm just curious,
I did find it really quite cute as well, yeah.
I think there needs to be a fee, doesn't there?
Yeah, it's called a peppercorn agreement. Even if there's something useless that's exchanged in relation to the consideration that's received, that dollar is what makes it legal oftentimes. And moreover, it was a holdover from the actual encroachment agreement template that you guys, or that the village has in bylaw 916. We did review with the Southeast Bible Missionary Church to see what things would kind of fit as we softened it to the memorandum of understanding, and the dollar figure did not come up.
Councillor Wall?
When they do provide us with the dollar, is there a possibility we can donate the dollar back?
Did you just give Mr. Malkinson $1 and then it's covered?
And it says the whole
I just don't feel right charging the church anything.
Okay, if council doesn't want me to collect the dollar, I won't collect the dollar. I think it wasn't the thing to collect the dollar.
What about 5 cents? Because
You guys are killing me, honestly. It's just for
I'll give
legal
up.
Oh, there, you just got $5.
According to
That's a 500% increase.
Yeah,
Who says the village is making money?
Yeah.
yeah, no, so it's just for legal purposes regarding the building, the bylaw within the village of Pooskoopi.
It was the easiest way that I could try
Yeah.
to do it, to respect the history, put something in the file, and tie the loop on your guys' bylaws that you have in effect for these.
No,
There's kind of 3 things we were trying to do here.
It's just the principle of charging the church.
I know, yes.
But this MOU, if I may, just my understanding of it is the purpose is that the structure is within a municipal easement, and when the village needs to do anything within that easement, any damages is still borne by the owner, and it's the understanding that there needs to still be work done. And
Unless the
obviously,
damage is caused by us. And it's borne by us. Is that not how it normally
I think
works?
section 7 says it indemnifies forever the village against any of it. But what I'm getting at is what's the true purpose of this MOU is it's required by our bylaw, is my understanding, and then it's just to kind of clarify this arrangement now so that 20, 100 years from now they understand what the heck we were getting at, right?
Mr. Malkinson?
The agreement does a couple of things. It protects the village, in the event that there's liability that extends from the existence of the steps that encroach onto the village right away. That's one particular thing. There are some requirements for the property owner to have insurance in place. That's another requirement as well. I can pull it up, but basically there's a few different things. I think the approach from bylaw 916 is more to say, okay, you know, if a person wishes to build something in a right of way that belongs to the village, what are some risk-related questions that should be answered? So just to go through it, we have making sure that the owner is required to keep the works in good repair. So for instance, if the steps, you know, fall apart over time, you know, the village, you know, won't be able to say to the owner, hey, we're concerned about it. There's some liability excluding stuff. There's a requirement to adhere to the, you know, conditions that are included within. There's a requirement for insurance. There's a requirement to basically we can enter onto that portion of the encroachment to, you know, inspect to make sure that it is adhering to whatever provisions are in the MOU. Again, it's not intended to be heavy-handed. This is kind of the template that we tried to work with the group, but more it's to try to clarify the relationship that's in place and to preserve it for the future, rather than, you know, just having it informally encroach.
Yes.
Thank you to staff for that response. It's appreciated, and I'm excited to see the work we do with our bylaw revisions so that issues like this, with the 20% lot coverage issue, the setbacks issue, and so on and so forth, be resolved so that future issues don't arise. And I do appreciate with clause 12 that it prevents the occurrence of adverse possession, that the encroachment is not considered an interest of the users. Anyways, if this is, you know, something that staff feels confident in, and that it will protect the village from liability, and that it will also help the church move forward and clarify their future arrangements, that sounds like a great plan, something that will last 100 years.
We did have a good conversation with the Southeast Bible Missionary Church, who were understandably quizzical when this was raised in context at the DVP. You know, it's a little bit, you know, this is one of the classic scenarios where, oh, you know, you're hoping to build a washroom on your property. Well, let's talk about your sidewalk. That's, you know, understandably annoying from the missionary church's perspective. But, you know, from our perspective and adhering to the village's bylaws, it's almost sloppy to, you know, paper one thing properly and just ignore it. Yeah. So this was the easiest way that we felt we could, you know, hit all the risk elements and, you know, add something to the file for the long term.
That's good. Clean it up.
That's good. And then moving us in the right direction. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to call the question. Then all those in favor? And that is unanimous and carried. Wonderful. Moving on to item 9.3.
Council directs staff to issue a request for proposal for 2 pickup trucks for the total purchase price not to exceed $75,000 per unit, and further, that staff provide a contract award recommendation for council authorization on completion of the request for the proposal process.
Can I get a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Woodall. I think this is really, really great that we're looking at getting a grant that's going to cover $150,000 of this potentially. Thinking positively, when and if we get that grant and we go forward with the purchases of these trucks, I think it would be really, really neat to kind of, you know, take a picture of them and post explaining the $150,000 grant that covered almost 90% of the purchase, you know, thank, I can't remember who the grant's through again, I'm so sorry.
Local Government Climate Action.
Yeah, and thank the Local Government Climate Action Group Authority, whatever it is.
LGCAP.
Thank you. Thank them for the opportunity for us to purchase these trucks. Yes.
Two quick clarifications. We have received this money. We received it 2 years ago. And this is us as a part of trying to shore up the village budget and leverage the existing funds that we have, which this is one of those ones where it's kind of, hey, what are you doing with this money?
I think we already have the money.
I didn't even realize that we even had it. Perfect.
But the total balance of the grant is about 120, so your guys' budget has about a 30K draw to support the purchase of these 2 pickups.
Yeah, but 30 grand for 2 full plug brand new trucks is a pretty decent walk away, gonna be honest.
here's the other clarification. We're trying to drive value on this purchase, so we do have a spec in the RFP, or we're proposing to you guys a spec for potentially including a used vehicle that's that doesn't exceed 60,000 kilometers.
Yeah.
But the idea is that, you know, if we can get pretty close to new and get something that's below the 75 per pickup truck, then hopefully we can maybe reduce that 30K drop and then, you know, general municipal budget.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yes, Councilor.
And I imagine this also helps with our asset management program as well, and retiring some old assets and bringing in some new ones and saving us some money in the long run on that.
Yeah.
We're talking a lot on this, your worship, but Chad, our Director of Public Works, did write a report in October that had been carrying forward from meeting to meeting to meeting to meeting with proposed asset disposals. So your next meeting, you'll have a report that asks for your guys' permission to offload 2 of our pickup trucks this year. So absolutely ties to asset management.
I'm excited. Wonderful. You also had something, Councilor?
I have one two-part question.
Totally. Go for it.
Firstly, so these 2 trucks, one is going to be replacing, the other one is, if I understand correctly, and the other one is going to be for that sander unit? Or are they both going to be replacing the trucks that we need to replace?
They're both replacing trucks that need to be replaced. There's one Dodge pickup in Public Works, and then there's another older flatbed that we don't really use.
Well, the Dodge pickup that's in Public Works, I believe that's the old fire chief's buggy. Because back in 2014, back when I was part of the fire department, 2014, 2015, I think it was right around the time that vehicle ended up going over to Public Works.
Yeah.
So it's been in
seems
the
okay.
fleet for a while, so it's been well loved.
I drove that truck to fire training in Grand Prairie in like 2013 or something.
Yeah.
Part 2 of my question is, so as we are considering used vehicles, if the cost of 2 used vehicles potentially comes under that $150,000 mark, will a grant cover 100%?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And so,
And that's the idea, right? We just, and you know, new vehicles are particularly expensive these days. We just want to relax it and make sure we're getting good value for money. So.
yeah, and that's kind of going back to that. I'd really like to make sure that we do a post for transparency so the public understand that, yes, there's 2 newer vehicles in the village, and instead of them seeing them and go, damn them, they're raising my taxes and buying brand new trucks everybody gets to enjoy. No. These are being funded through a grant. So I think that will also stop some of that rumor mill. And then also what we've seen in the past is when we have purchased a newer asset, sometimes they will harass the person that is in them, and that's also not fair. So I really want to just kind of protect our public works crew from being harassed by members of the public because they feel like they're being taken advantage of when they're not.
These aren't particularly, like Chad and I did, the Director of Public Works and I did review the specs or like the add-ons for these pickups, because again, in the RFP, we can require the, you know, purveyor, the provider to identify the options that they will install. And you know, they didn't strike me as, you know, uniquely luxurious. There's no lift kit or spinning rims or anything.
Yeah. And these are both automatic, right? No. Yeah. So yeah, are we getting rid of the standard that none of our summer students can drive?
I could drive that thing, no problem. But yes.
Our summer students can never drive it. It's a bit of an issue. Councilor Rebel?
Okay, so I appreciate going for used. Are we allowed to with WorkSafe and all the other regulations and requirements? Are we okay with doing that? Okay, so we're okay with that. That's wonderful to hear. I appreciate that. Might as well have done it. And then the other piece is, okay, so we're going to have to budget $30,000 to potentially be utilized in the 2026 budget. Is that already in the numbers that we're going to see?
So I don't think you guys don't have your nose to the ground or anything like this. There were a couple comments from a few meetings ago where I was thinking, I'm not sure that they are fully 100% dialed into all the items that we have in the budget. This item is in the budget, so you guys are all above board. This is presented to you guys for 2 reasons. One, it's out of an abundance of caution to make sure that I'm being super clear around with you guys about what the purchase process is going to be about. Item number 2 is it's going to exceed the purchasing authority that the CAO has for the purchasing policy. So I'm trying to set it up with you guys. Contract and vote until the value will be about $50,000. $1,000 if I max everything out.
Do we try not to max everything?
That's never the goal. You never want to max it.
He never wants to make, he's
Government, sometimes you lose your budget if you don't spend it, and I don't want that to be the case.
He's as frugal as me, and I thought I was pretty frugal, so, yes, Councilor Whittle.
When you guys are looking at specs, just out of curiosity, and it's more actually a health and safety concern. I know some municipalities and some places will do something stupid like delete air conditioning out of a vehicle and then expect people to work into it all freaking summer long. That to me is it's very much a health and safety concern, especially with the hot summers we have. So
It doesn't say that in there.
I'm just clarifying that we didn't do something like delete out the AC and it has a good heater because it gets hot and it gets cold.
Yeah, very, very fair. Through your worship, aircon is in the specs. That was something that we had a discussion about the last couple of days reviewing the RFP specs. I think odd event that we did utilize a truck that had AC or where the AC failed, just heavily slowed down our work during high temperature situations where folks need to, go in and cool off, for heavily increased intervals. So it's just, theoretically there could be a way to make it work with no AC. It's just basically useless.
Well, you're paying for them to delete because it comes standard in most vehicles now, so you're paying them to delete it, so it's an extra cost there. And personally, I think it's a health and safety concern, and with 20 years in the first aid industry and seeing, all kinds of injuries, that's one of the things that just rattles my brain when I talk to municipality workers and other jurisdictions that, it's a hot day, they're just sweating balls, and it's like, don't you have AC in your truck? Oh no, they deleted it because it's a luxury, and it's like, that's a health and safety concern.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, last question.
Yeah, the last one. Basically.
You got that from me, didn't you?
No, I do that for a long time.
So anyways, with that, because it's a used vehicle, I appreciate the RFP having all these different pieces, but because I appreciate the RFP process, I appreciate we're going for used because we'll get value for our buck, but should we not include passive vehicle inspection? Something like that to ensure, because it sounds like anyone could sell their old buddy's, truck to us or attempt to. Hell, give her, but if it's a good truck. But I think we should probably include passive full, automotive inspection.
That's in there too.
That's also in there. Okay, perfect. Awesome.
Good suggestion. Please don't assume that I always have everything dialed in. I don't always.
I apologize to staff. I don't see it specifically listed.
No, this is not the RFP.
The full RFP.
This is the report asking you guys to.
Okay. All right, may I call the question then? All those in favor? And that's unanimous and carried. All right, moving on to what?
Yeah. Does it run?
Yeah, right. Next question.
Common law protects you there. They don't sell you a vehicle, aka if it doesn't run, then you have no contract.
All right, moving on to item 9.4, policy development. That council review the working alone as presented for discussion. Can I get a seconder?
It says abandoned.
I know.
Adopted.
I have a question. Are you seconding that? Councilor Whittle second that. I just put this up for discussion. I just want to cover up a few things before I'm willing to adopt it at this point in time. So there, in here, it does state that the public works does often work alone, which I totally get because it would be awkward to have two guys sitting in one loader. I totally get that.
Each other's laps.
Yeah. But under procedure 5, it also lists administration. So personally, I'm just not comfortable with our administration team working alone when open to the public. So I understand that the CAO often works alone, as well as our fire chief and our director of public works when in their forms of admin roles, but those are exempt positions. So if the concern is that this could inhibit exempt position employees from working alone, is that something that we should put in there, or it's mainly our admin team in the office, our front girls, our finance clerk. But I do understand that like you're often here working evenings or catching up on things, you're alone. Our fire chief, same thing. I understand that there's a bit of leeway there for that. And so I'm just wondering if maybe we should include something in there where the administration team is not to be working alone at all during open hours, but exempt employees fall under a different. Would it be beneficial to include that?
So I get where you're going with it. I do think that as it's written, it looks like that is kind of contemplated in here. So
Is that what?
It's on point 3.
So no employee shall work alone in the village office while the day is open to the public. At least two staff members must be present in the office during public business hours. Number 4, if in the extraordinary case of one administrative staff is present during a normal workday, a staff member from Public Works may be called into the office. And then 5 is where it gets into the murky kind of spot that you're speaking about.
Yeah, it's that murky bit that I'm.
Admin and Public Works employees may occasionally work alone due to operational requirements. Where possible, employees should work in pairs when performing tasks involving increased safety risks or occur when performing tasks that involve increased safety risks or occur in areas with limited public visibility.
Yeah, so my concern with that is that I know that we do have some members of our administration team that are not comfortable working alone under any circumstances due to previous incidents that has happened to them personally.
Yeah.
And so with that, I'm wondering if we could tighten that up directly for them, because is this written the way that it is to make it so that exempt employees can? I guess that's my overall question.
Right.
So is this giving you the leeway that you need for exempt employees to work alone, but is it technically being put on the administration staff?
Well, so there's a couple of things to keep in mind. If there's, like usually you'll have a matrix that assesses, the unique risks that are present with certain kinds of work, and those can dictate a higher or a lower check-in interval between employees in a working alone like regime that you would have. So usually, like the WorkSafe BC approach on these things is not whether the employee is unionized or whether they're exempt. It's more of a, what are the relevant dangers that are present? And I think that's what, point 3 is trying to speak to. Point 5, practically speaking, for the love of,
All that is holy.
Please don't require me to have somebody with me when I'm working on a Saturday
Well,
or something, right? So that's
yeah.
what point 5 is trying to speak to.
Yeah.
There are items there's another item in here that is a suggested addition, which is CAO may establish procedures respecting risk assessments, training, and working on safety requirements, are being outlined in the village's occupational health and safety policy manual.
Yeah.
Which, so like identifying some procedures, of which we do have some in our existing OHS kind of regime. So the idea behind 5 is more for the the common sense low risk scenarios.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. I didn't want council to pass this evening and then have some of our administration staff come back and go, I'm actually not comfortable with that, and I voiced that before. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm wanting to take into consideration the incidents that have happened, the impact that those have had, while also making sure that we are not adding any more undue stress to you or exempt employees that need to come in.
I don't want to get ahead of the councillors, but in response to that, like the unique history that an organization has can also inform the risk profile that you'll have with working alone.
Okay.
So given some of the incidents that have happened in the past, if the village tried to force folks to work alone in those dangerous environments, they'd be, I think we'd be pretty liable to get pretty hard hands smacked.
Okay. No, thank you. I would just wanted to make sure that was completely covered. Yes.
Right, 2 things. One, all workers in British Columbia have the right and the responsibility to refuse an unsafe work act. So if being asked to work alone you feel is unsafe because of past incidents, they are fully within their rights, 100% protected, to tell Mr. Wilkinson to pound sand, right? Now, or request that somebody else is in the building. So I think WCB already covers that. The other question I have is when it comes to the safety end of things, I know like years ago I worked in a convenience store, right? And we had little buttons.
Violence in the workplace stuff.
Yeah, but we had little call buttons, like so if you weren't able to get to a phone or something like that, right? They have them in banks, they have them in other places, and so just making sure that the buttons that are available are readily available to people that may potentially work, so that they're not always because I know a lot of places they put them in the front, like under the front counter.
Yeah.
But the day and society that we live in nowadays,
Yes.
if the proverbial shit hits the fan, for lack of a better word, are those buttons located elsewhere within the building that are accessible to staff? Without getting too,
Yeah, I'm not sure I have all the locations figured. Oh, Jimmy's got his hand.
Through you.
I don't want to disclose where the locations are, that's what I'm trying to
I have a button.
Tell us where the buttons are.
Yeah, and I just want to make sure that they're accessible, so like if we say we have a shelter in place type incident, that those buttons are available to staff in those incidents.
I have been shown the buttons before, and there are two types of button if I'm able to share. One is actually for emergency locking the door, the other one is actually like a
Panic button, yeah.
I had two things, but now I have one because you mentioned the right to refuse unsafe work. The other thing I was thinking of is if there are employees, if the office is open during the day, and there happens to be one person on shift, has staff considered a buzzer system for people they can walk up to the door and you buzz them in. I know there's a lot of workplaces that have that now for people who are working alone, so that nobody's just walking in the building. You actually have to see them and buzz them in.
We haven't considered that.
No. I don't know. I would hate to put a buzzer system on the door and then have the public feel like they're not welcome into the building.
You don't have to use it every day. Like it wouldn't.
It's something you can turn on and off.
It's something you could turn on. Like you could have the door unlocked when there's multiple people in here, but if, let's say, Mr. Malkinson's working on his own for some reason because he likes to work on holiday.
We do have a button that does engage the locks on the doors. So that is something that staff do have. As soon as they push it, the door is locked. And because of the front windows, we can see people coming, and generally, if it's people who have been part of incidents in the past and that person's alone, they'll push it. That makes sense. We do have a magical button that locks the whole
I
building.
was just thinking for extreme.
Well, all the buzzers is it's the door defaults to lock, and the
Yeah.
buzzer just disengages the lock. Ours is the opposite way around.
Where
Because
it's like
unlocked,
people
you
are
push the
welcome,
button and it locks
and
it.
it'll suddenly lock, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's a reverse buzzer.
Yes.
That makes sense.
I appreciate that, of course, we want to have a safe work environment for everyone here at the village. I do not want to see a buzzer system. I want to see, that the public can always just walk in freely and have a great conversation. We're still a small community, and be it as it may with recent events and all this, I would still like to see that we don't have a barricaded society. I do have a question though, but I believe it potentially moves into closed territory. And I'm not sure how to manage that.
Okay,
We don't have We do.
yeah, there is a close to employee.
I would like to make the motion that we enter into closed discussion for this particular item.
Security of property of the municipality.
Okay, all right, can I get a seconder for that? Seconded by Councilor Ravel. Any discussion? All those in favor? All right, we'll pop into close real quick.